Hello. Hello, everyone. My name is Tolu, and I help professionals to build attractive personal brands that land them roles that they deserve. And welcome to this session of LinkedIn Essentials for Job Seekers. And today I'm going to walk you through the above outline. I'll talk about why LinkedIn matters. I'll talk about creating strong profile for LinkedIn. I'll also touch on the strategies and tips you need to have a very attractive LinkedIn profile. Then I'll take you through what not to do on LinkedIn. The don'ts. Just stay away from them. And then I'm going to take some questions and answer. If it's possible, you can just drop your questions on the comment section, and I will be able to answer them. So let's start with why LinkedIn is important. With over 1 billion users, it's the world's largest professional network, and you have about 80% of recruiters going into LinkedIn just to fetch people that would actually take up roles. And this is a very good platform for any job seekers. I am not saying other job boards are not fantastic, no, but I'm saying LinkedIn is a more powerful platform to get a job. LinkedIn gives you the opportunity to meet with recruiters. It gives you the opportunity to meet with job employees. Maybe you have a company you've been hiring. You have the privilege to just search for people that work in the organization. You can ask for recommendations. So it helps you with all of this. I don't think any job board does that at the moment. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. So LinkedIn helps you to also build a personal brand. So you have your page where you have your pictures, you have the things you've done, the things you're trying to achieve, the tools you can use. That's a brand. That's your professional brand. LinkedIn gives you this opportunity to build that brand. LinkedIn also gives you the opportunity to be found. When you have your personal brand, which is very attractive, recruiters can just come knocking at your door. And then you also have the opportunity to learn for free on LinkedIn. There are a lot of resources. Trust me, there are a lot of resources. Even from people that are conversant with the industry, the articles they post can really help you on the job, can help you to actually get knowledge about the job you're seeking for. Hence, LinkedIn is a very, very robust platform for job search. And this takes me to the next slide. Let's talk about building a very strong profile. First of all, you want to upload a very clear and very professional picture. We don't want to see a picture where you're whining and dining outside. It's a social media platform, but it's a professional social media platform. It's a platform where we want to see what you've done in terms of work. We really don't care about your social life. So you need a very professional picture. And your brand is speaking about who you are. So let us see what you look like. Let us see how your brand, aligns with the role we are trying to recruit you for. You need to craft a very attractive headline. So a lot of people make mistakes about their headlines. Your headline is not supposed to be your about. It's supposed to tell us your current role. You can add your hard skills. You can add the tools you probably use. Tell us what your past roles were. These are supposed to be your head, and you don't need to, lump them up with a lot of information. A line is enough. It shouldn't pass just a line. Your current role, your past role, your hard skills. If possible, you might want to mention a very popular tool you probably can use on the job. So that's that on the headline. So you want to also mention your about section now. So your about section will talk about who you are, what you can do or what you have done, and your values. So these are the components of what your about section should talk about. It shouldn't be too long. For me, I tell people 5 lines is enough. Use the keywords that are very, very strategic in the role you're looking for. For example, I'm a business analyst. I'm looking for a business analyst role. I expect to see a lot of stakeholder engagement in my about or in my skill section, because this is a very, very important soft skill on the job. So I want to see your stakeholder engagement. I want to see your communication. I want to see attention to details. I want to see them on your profile, because when the LinkedIn algorithm searches for profiles for jobs, it probably uses all those keywords. ATS uses those keywords, and those are the things that can actually position you to be scanned for the job. Then I would move on to the next slide, which talks about also about the profile. So you're on your experience section now. The reason why you put your experience on your profile is for people to read. If you're adding your experience on your profile and it doesn't have bullet points, trust me, nobody will read it. And that is already a minus on your part. So a recruiter is looking at your profile and everything is just lumped up. You cannot even properly read what you have put as content on your profile. This is not good. It's not looking good at all. So trust me, nobody wants to spend 5 minutes on a profile. 3 minutes, I make my decision and I'm gone. So you need to put your bullet points, make sure it is clearly written, no grammatical errors, they are well defined, they are very attractive as well. And then, your past experience you should use past tense for your past experiences. Your present experience or present role should be continuous tenses. Those are little things, but they really, really matter and they go a long way. Then you also want to focus on your achievements, focus on the outcome and the metrics. I don't just want responsibility just because I need to put responsibilities. What are the things you've achieved? On my screen, you can see an example of a very good responsibility. And I'm not saying how your responsibility should be written this way. No, just about 30% can have the metrics. Oh, I achieved 30% of reducing error, through automated dashboards. You have that as an achievement. You can just put that in. in your experience or past achievements. And then in terms of your skills and endorsements, skills is the most important section on your profile, because this is where you put all the keywords. Trust me, if you have the right keywords on your skill section, there's no way an ATS would pass your CV. This is a secret I'm telling you. Make use of this secret. Have like 20, minimum of 20. That's what I tell people, minimum of 20 skill section. If you have, 20 skills. If you have minimum of 20 skills, there's no way you wouldn't have covered a good part of that job role. So a business analyst, you have listed all of the things, all of the keywords in a business analyst role. You have your gap assessment, you have your current state analysis, you have your stakeholder engagement, you have all those business requirements gathering, all those things there. I'm not a business analyst, but I read about the things they do, so I have an idea. You have your requirements gathering in place. You have all of those things. You can even add Jira. You have tools also, so that whenever there's a screening on CVs, your CV pops up. That's the secret I'm telling you today. And then you also want to ask for recommendations. So wherever you work, make sure you don't burn bridges, because people to endorse you need to get recommendations from colleagues or past colleagues. And then in terms of education and certification, you don't need to give us too much information on your education section. I see people putting my high school year 2022. We don't need that. All we need is your BSc. If you have an MSc, fantastic. We don't even need a year. What did you study? Oh, I studied accounting, University of Doncaster or something. That's all. You don't need to tell me the year you graduated. The reason is because if you're giving us too much information as a recruiter can actually calculate what your age is. You graduated school 2020, maybe like 2000, and you're putting it on your profile. If the job I'm trying to offer, they probably do not want people who are old or something like that. So you're screening yourself out. You don't need information on year. You need to even get the opportunity to come for the interview and prove yourself, and let them change whatever criteria they've put down. By the time you go for the interview and you are able to ace it, they can actually bend their rules to say, oh, okay, we're looking for somebody who is probably younger, but it ticks all other boxes. Yes, we'll give him the job. So you shouldn't put the date you graduated from school. It's not needed. It is not needed. And then you list all your relevant qualifications, everything you've done, those ones that are relevant. Please list them out. It shows that you are learning, you like to learn, and you are growing in your career. That is what certifications and educations does for you. Then you also include your LinkedIn learning, which is quite important as well. All the certifications you get from LinkedIn, put them. We want to see if you are a good listener. We want to see if you learn. If you're not just comfortable with where you are, you strive to improve in all ramifications. We want to see that. And then I'll talk about the URL. So there's a part on LinkedIn. If we have enough time, I'm going to show you how to do that. There's a part on LinkedIn where you can actually customize your URL. You don't have to leave it as 0, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are usually numbers here also. So you can, just as an example of what I've done, you can say Anastasia Career Coach. You can actually do that for yourself. Put your name, put something very attractive. It only shows how serious you are and how you pay attention to details. That is it. And you also want to, probably if you are maybe a data analyst or some people in other roles that have portfolios, and these are things that are not confidential, things you can actually share with the public. You can also attach them. Some people attach their CVs or resume. You can attach your resume into the feature session. It's okay. It's very fine. Sometimes you can choose to put open to work on your profile. It is not compulsory. I don't usually advise that because it's not mandatory. Trust me. If you have a good profile, recruiters will come to you. You don't even have to put open to work. They will. Yeah. So that is. So I'll give you some examples of a very bad LinkedIn profile. Look at the first picture of this man. You see what it looks like. This is not a very good picture. We can do better than this. Look at the second one. Look at the headline. He has too much information. This is not the about. It's just an headline. What are you doing? Who are you? What have you done in time past? What are your hard skills? That is all. That's all I need. And then on the third picture that shows job seekers. So sometimes you also need to avoid default headlines. So default headlines is when you actually don't put any headlines, and LinkedIn just puts your last role or something, just one information, and it pops up as your headline. So that's the default headline. Avoid that. You need to be intentional. You need to be deliberate about what your headline is, because it's one of the first things people would see on your profile, which is quite important. Trust me, I can make my impression within 10 seconds. I don't need to read, and go through. Once I see the profile is very beautiful, then it attracts me. I want to read more. I want to go more. But if you don't have something very attractive, nobody would even go to the profile and read whatever information. And you might even have this experience. You might be able to do the job, but you're not. A LinkedIn profile would probably take you to the door. But when you don't even get to the door would not open. So you need to get to the door. When you go for your interviews and you hit your interview, then the doors open. So that is how it should be. And then, this will take us to the next slide. This is a cover picture which you can download from Canva. It is free. You don't have to pay for it. So you can create something, put your name, put your current role, put your details, use this as your cover picture, and your profile would begin to take shape. Look at the pictures which I would recommend. The first three, they are very, very recommendable. These are beautiful pictures which would attract anybody to your profile. The two underneath are not very good. You can avoid this for a LinkedIn profile. And then this is a typical example of what your LinkedIn profile should look like. So your profile picture, as you said, your profile picture should be top-notch, should be professional, should have a clear background. You shouldn't be in a club, you should have a very clear and bright background. Your headline should show your name. For example, I'm a data analyst. My ad skill is Power BI and SQL. Then you like turning complex data into clear insight. You might ignore that. You might also ignore open to new opportunities. You might have data analyst. You might have maybe you've done a data quality analyst as well. You can put that. Then Power BI and SQL is also very attractive. You can put that. You want to put all the roles. So what happens is that when you have a role, the role can be called another name in another organization. So you want to research other names that your role is being called. You put them here as well. And then the about section, this is a very good example. Tell us who you are, what you've done, what value do you have. That is all we need to see. If you're able to squeeze in the tools you use, which, if they're very relevant to your role, please include them as well. That's also a plus. On your experience, we just want to see your role, the name of the organization you're working, the year, probably not the location, but sometimes if you have a UK experience, it is very good to put, UK in front of the organization. For people that are abroad or people that are just migrating into the country, if you have like an abroad, and if it's not like an European country, maybe if it's an African country, you might just ignore that, or whatever suits you. But putting the country is not really compulsory. But I put countries for people that actually have experiences in the UK. If it's outside the UK, I probably will not put the country. So for recommendations, get recommendations from your past colleagues. Get them to put good recommendations for you. It could be from your manager as well. So you have a good recommendation. You can just even give them an idea of what you expect them to write. And then your education, just like I said, MSc Data Science, University of Leeds. That's all. Certification, all certifications you've earned, you need to include them. Your skills should be minimum of 20. SQL, Power BI, you can actually add up both hard skills and soft skills. You might not need to differentiate. Just like I have work ethics, I have Power BI and SQL. So those are two different skills. So you can just add them up all so that you have a lot of skills, and which helps you to accumulate keywords for job search. Then you also want to maybe customize the feature session. It's not compulsory, but you can do that as well. Okay, so we go into the tips and strategies. I find this very, very interesting because this has worked for a lot of people. So you want to aim for, a meaningful amount of connections. You want to show how dedicated you are. And in terms of connections, please connect with people that are relevant. You don't need to connect with your primary school, secondary school mates. They won't probably help your brand. You need to connect with people that are in your field. I mean, for the sake of job search, so to connect with people, you don't need to know them, but when you're connecting, you also drop sensible messages to them. So connect with people in your field, connect with people that can actually help your career, people that can give you recommendations, connect with recruiters. These are the people you should connect with. Then you also want to join a lot of groups. In joining groups, you have to be strategic. So there are a lot of groups out there. You have women in data analytics. Those are the groups that can actually help your career. I've seen people get jobs just by joining groups, yes. But you have to be teachable, you have to be humble, you have to also connect and network properly. Then another point I have here is the application time on LinkedIn. It is very good to apply in the morning. So this works in the sense that as a recruiter is resuming work in the morning, they're trying to, source for CVs, for interviews and all. You are sending out your applications at the same time. I've seen people apply for jobs and in the next 30 minutes, they are getting calls. That's because they were strategic to the time they apply. You don't just sit and think applying for a job is something you can do at any point in time or when it's convenient for you. You can actually do that, but you really need to be strategic. Make it a point of duty, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., send out your applications. Then you can come back and maybe send out some other applications when you're free. But 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. is very important. Then I also would say that you should always aim for the first 48 hours of job openings. So it means you should always be on the application board. That's LinkedIn. As the jobs are dropping, you're sending out your application. Yes, it's a job. Searching for a job is a job on its own, and you have to treat it as such. As the recruiters are dropping the jobs, you want to be among the first 20 because you stand a better chance. Then you also want to, start posting content. I can do another video on how to get content, but getting content is not even difficult. So you can strategize, have a weekly content post, you comment on other people's posts, relevant to the field you work in, not just, any topic you jump into. Then you also want to avoid relying on easy apply. This is a lazy way of applying. You need to avoid it, So let me tell you a story. When you send out job applications to easy apply, trust me, hundreds of people are doing the same thing. What you don't want to do, you don't want to be amongst the 1,000 people applying for that job. A lot of people are also avoiding the jobs that takes them to the website. So in doing that, a lot of people are avoiding jobs that takes them to the website. When you take those jobs and you apply for them, you have increased your chances because they are less competitive. compared to an easy apply where everyone applies. If a job drop in 2 hours, trust me, you can have like over 50 people already applied. And it's not the same thing for jobs that takes you to the website or that has a very long process of applying. Those are the ones you should even focus on. It increases your chances. This is a secret. Even if you cannot apply for it at that time, you can just open all those tabs for the ones that takes you to the long application. Then, apply for all the easy applies. Then go back to all of the ones that takes you to the website, to the long application. Then using of keywords. This is also very, very important. A lot of organization uses ATS to screen out CVs. It's a tool. It's not human being sitting down. It's just a tool that screens out all the CVs. If you don't have the right keywords, there's no way you would even get screened in the first place. And that is why a lot of people are getting rejections and they think, oh, they are not calling me. It is because you don't have the right profile or the right CVs. Remember that your CV should integrate into your LinkedIn. Whatever you have on your CV is what you have on your LinkedIn. So whatever content you put on your LinkedIn will be integrated into whatever content you put on your CV or resume will be integrated into your LinkedIn. So if I'm seeing your CV, I should be seeing the same thing on your LinkedIn. I don't want to have a discrepancy. I don't want to have a misinformation. So you also need to be careful about that. If you have any questions, please drop in the comment section. I will be right there to answer you. And I think this is the last slide for this topic. So you also want to request for recommendations from your colleague. You also display these recommendations. They are very, very good ones for your profile. You don't want to use anything that looks unprofessional. You also need to reach out. This is another topic on its own, reaching out to recruiters and employees. I have like a template I share with people. Send to employees. It's a win-win. When I talk to an employee of an organization, you would probably also get a referral bonus if I get, onboarded. So it's a win-win. So if I go to, for example, I worked with EasyJet. I'm looking for a job at EasyJet and I've seen a post for a data analyst. I can go to LinkedIn, look for the people that work at EasyJet and chat them, or please, can you recommend me for this role? Because they would also get recommendation bonus. So it's a win-win approach. So don't be afraid, don't be scared to reach out to people. Then you also want to avoid using, those default headlines. Then also make sure that your responsibilities are always easy to read. When you look at it yourself, do you think it's something you would stay back to read? So if you're able to answer that question sincerely, and then you'll be good to go. So this is the last slide, I guess, and it talks about the don'ts. So the things you shouldn't even do. Never ever leave your profile half finished. So I'll give you a story. A friend of mine, he got a job, and he was happy about it. They had called him to come to their office. They met him, they introduced the team he would be working with. And then only for him to wake up the next day to their email to say that, sorry, they don't think they'll be able to go ahead with the employment. They cancelled or they reversed the offer. They retrieved the offer, Why? And he just realized that they went to his LinkedIn profile, they checked his profile, and they saw that the profile was not the same thing as what he has on his CV. Or, there was just a mismatch. And they cancelled the job immediately. Don't be a victim. Do not say nobody told you. I have told you. Whatever CV you're submitting, make sure it is the same thing as your LinkedIn. Organizations or HR will go to your profile and go and check your LinkedIn. They do that a lot. So please do not be a victim. Then you have, just like we said, you're building a brand. You don't just want to post when you're looking for a job. You need to be consistent. You're building a brand. When you're working, even when you get a job, you might still want to change your job. You want to grow. You want to change for some reason. So you don't wait until that time before you start posting, start connecting. No, it's not done that way. You have to be prepared for all of these things. Then you also want to disconnect, or you don't connect with without content, like just connecting with random people. Connect with people that can, or people that align with your goals, people that are in your field. Those are the kind of people you should connect. And you also had a very cute note. It's just a template, You don't always have to create a new one for each person. You don't ignore messages. You're applying for jobs. You have to be sure that it's your number, the number you're currently using. That's the same number on your CV you're using to apply, or on your LinkedIn, so that when recruiters reach out, they are able to communicate with you. Be rest assured that your email address is correct. They're not sending email address to somebody else, or it's just bouncing back. Please, these are the things you need to check out for. Sometimes people tailor their CVs to a job they're applying for. You don't need to outrightly remove important information. Important information like the company you worked or the year you worked, those are very important information you cannot take out, or you cannot tailor. You can tailor the responsibilities, it's fine. But the organization you worked in, the year you worked in the organization, you can't keep changing that all the time. Then you don't always have to copy and paste, make your profile more engaging. Even if you are using ChatGPT or any AI tool, let it be believable, make it natural. Read it, review it, and rewrite it. That is how it is done. Then you also want to stay away from general words. I'm hardworking. What does that even mean? You don't need to say I am hardworking. It's by what you've done, we can tell. So this brings me to the question and answer question section. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comment section. Let me know what part of LinkedIn you struggle with. And if you want a profile review, trust me, I'm always available. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. That will be really helpful So if you need a profile review, I'm always here. You can DM, you can send an email to that address. You can follow us on all social media platforms as well. We're on LinkedIn, on TikTok, on Instagram. Please do well to follow us on all of these platforms. And I say thank you. See you in my next video. Thank you.